Hello and welcome to my video walkthrough of my writer's notebook. So one of the things that I often talk to with my writing students and a lot of people who I've talked to as writers is I'm very analog and I'm very texture based. So writing things and holding things and touching things are a very important part of my process of getting things down where ideas kind of flow. So this is a writer's notebook that I was keeping in 2023, and I wanted to give a tour of it because I was kind of transitioning into kind of like embracing my full journal self again. So I think it's got some really interesting stuff in it that kind of informs how my process works. So one of the things is I often put stickers on, this is a more recent one, I often put stickers on my journals because it kind of gives me an exciting thing to look at whenever I pick up this piece. Personalizing, customizing, making things my own is very important to me. So I often buy stickers, or I will just obtain stickers as kind of like as the months go on, as I'm filling up this journal. And what that'll do is kind of inform what was happening in my life at the time. And I just love this goth Morticia Addams quote, really spoke to me at the time. So I'm looking at 2023, started the journal in February and went all the way to, it looks like it only made it to June. That's when it finally, when I filled the whole thing up. So this is a Zequenz. I always say Zen, but it's Zequenz journal. It's a Zequenz 360. It doesn't really have much of a spine. So ideally, and I'm not going to do this with this one, but I'll show you with this one, you can take the journal and bend it all the way back. So it's very durable, which is something that I need in my life. I am a very, I'm rough on things, I guess is the best way to put it. So I started with this journal, and as I started working with it, I started adding more and more things to it. So often when I find quote stickers, I will add those. I also bought these neon pink hearts from Paper Chase before they went out of business. I got like hundreds of them. So often my journals will have like the little neon pink hearts in them, or I'll just stick them on things to personalize them. In my office at university, I put one on my printer. I put one on the outside of my door. It doesn't damage anything, and it's just like this little flourish that I add to things. Glossier stickers. Sometimes I will create a calendar, so I'll be able to look at the date while I am journaling, but more often than not, I just look at my phone anyway, but sometimes I like to make those. I also have tabs that I made to indicate what month is happening. I don't always do this. I haven't always done this in my journal, so sometimes it's fun to, I have a punch, and what I'll do is I'll take paper stock, or I'll take things from packaging that I have, and I will punch it out. So this particular paper flag came from a package of a tube of mascara, and it was just this awesome pink. So I wanted to keep it. So it's a way that I like to reuse things and then repurpose them. So these are from some old paper stock scraps that I had, cardstock scraps that I had. So then I'll write on it, and then I'll just take just regular Scotch tape over it because it's clearer. And then this way it makes it a little bit more durable because I'm constantly flipping to these pages. So I will put it in postcards when we travel. This was one that was sent to me from someone. So when I got it in the mail, or when they handed it to me, I stuck it in here. And I use washi tape to secure things in place, or a roller tape. I also, when I come across quote cards, I will stick those in as well, and more tabs. So I make a lot of lists. So journaling and writing down my ideas, especially in the morning, right when I wake up. I am a morning person. So what I will do is I just wake up and have my coffee, and I get really fired up, and I'll write out all of my ideas. And what happens with a journal of this size is I'll write an idea and then sometimes I'll even forget that I wrote out the idea. So with this particular journal, I was doing a lot of scene shaping. The way that that works is I will decide that it's time to write a scene for my novel, and then I will sketch it out. Who stands where is this happening, kind of like the baseline ideas for it. Or sometimes it'll just be an idea of something that's interesting. So when that happens, so I don't forget where I was doing that, I will take a paper flag. These are paper flags that I got from Cloth and Paper. The company Cloth and Paper. They were like a little freebie. And then I have an old bullet journal stencil kit that has a star stencil. So I just outlined the stars on it to kind of jazz them up a little bit. But paper flags, incredibly useful. And I get these are just like the post-it ones, and they are just work perfect in journals or when you're reading and want to mark things, and they're very cheap. And it's kind of nice to go back and be like, oh, that was important to me at the time. Why did I mark that? And kind of like a little exploration, especially for journals, because sometimes you have a lot of feelings about something and they're important and you're not really sure why. So it's always good to go back and look at these different things. So something else that I will do when I get a new journal to kind of customize it is I will mark pages. And it's very random when I do this because I always start off when I first start working with a journal. So you'll see all these little black and white lines. This is just washi tape that I just taped to the edge of the paper and close that out. And then this way it creates a little reinforcement tab for the page, but then also it dolls it up and dresses it up and customizes it in that way, which I am a big fan of. This is also a little exploration into bullet journaling. Bullet journaling is hard, guys. I do not keep up with all my ideas in bullet journal formatting. I have an actual Filofax planner that I'm obsessed with, but I really love how a little tiny calendar looks in the corner. So that's why I was playing around with that idea. So I also will sometimes mark the actual pages in the journal randomly before I get started with images that I think are incredibly cool, non-specific images. So this is actually just washi tape that had a floral print on it. So I kind of use it like wallpaper. But then I also have at times, yes, here's an example. This was just ripped from a magazine. I still get magazines in the mail. I love magazines and I like to touch things. So I still get print magazines in the mail. And this was like from an ad in Vogue. And I loved the beautiful pink flowers up against that green. So just as a color scape. So I just ripped that out and just put it on a random page. And sometimes it will just be color scapes that I'm interested in. I just flipped past one and cannot, there it is. So this is two different, it's actually three different strips, but it was just the colors that I was fascinated with. So the pinks and the petals, and this was from another ad and the pinks kind of lined up. Or that's from a friend's wedding. This bookcase I thought was really cool. So it doesn't have to be like an actual vision board thing that you rip out of the magazine. I've done that before and I love doing that type of thing. But this is just colors that struck my eye, combinations that struck my eye, things that I just thought were intriguing. This is also a card for my kid. So whenever something important happens or memorable happens, I will often paste it in the journal with some washi tape. So we were on a trip where we actually got boarding passes, which is pretty rare. So I take those in there as well to commemorate the trip. These are postcards that I picked up while we were gone. This is fun. This little tab, if you can see that, is from Glossier packaging. So I got the embossed Glossier on that when I punched it out, which was really cool. So it's like the floral, and feel that on the back. And then other like washi tapes that I have picked out. So this particular journal went from February to well past my birthday, and I got like a 10-year plan marked out in here. So I was able to collect a lot of things and really spend a lot of time with this last year. Isn't that so trippy? So, really important time. Tacos. My friend knows I love tacos. So I kept their card in here. And then it was just time. It was just time to start another one. I could have done a couple more pages in it, but I just, sometimes when you get to a point in a journal, you're like, oh no, it's time for me to start a new one. So this is also, I taped this in, but this is a envelope that I got from the Cloth and Paper Company. I get their monthly subscription box, and they are doing more stuff in cardboard as for their receipts and different things. And so this came, and it just has like a little to keep. And it is an awesome little pocket that I get with every subscription box. It's kind of almost like a throwaway, not even something that is like a prize, but I love it because I can glue this in the back of my journal, and it makes it possible for me to hold on to things. So like stickers I haven't put in there yet, scraps of paper I haven't glued in, or other things that pop up. And I'm surprised it's empty. And usually when I glue those in, it's with a roller tape glue because I don't like waiting for things to dry. I'm a little impatient about that. So a lot of this is just from roller taped in. Also, so this is just an example of what I was talking about. I have this marked little star because right here, I started thinking about one of my characters and just started writing about this whole concept, like their backstory and some of the off the page work about that character development. And then it ended up going into some dialogue and a little bit more specific scene shaping kind of. But sometimes I don't know if this isn't going to be an actual scene in the book, or is it just something that I need to know in order to keep writing the book. So I go ahead and flag it, and if I need it, then I know that it's flagged. And I was really full of ideas during this period. It was very flush with newness and new things. So that's why you can see all of these tabs popping up there. So, so that is my writer's notebook, and I do keep one of these going at all times, and I love it. It's very difficult if I travel and I don't have it with me. I try to write every day if at all possible. So thank you so much for letting me give you this tour of my audience, this tour of my writing notebooks, this tour of my process. And I will check back with any new insights that I have going on. Also, keep in mind that you can like and subscribe to this channel so you can get these delivered to you, getting your notifications. But then also be sure to look at my podcast that is also available on this channel. It is primarily about my process as an indie writer, and it's called Cowgirl Bookworms. So definitely be sure to check that out as well. Thank you so much. Bye.